What's up, everyone? It's ICanSnake.
Greetings, everyone. This is CC Trainor-Ling.
What's up, everybody? This is Sentinel Nation 98 here.
What's going on, guys? It's James the Con Man, and pour some sugar on me!
It sounds very appropriate for this review, now doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I try to
Definitely.
go along with the theme of the episode, don't I?
Absolutely. And so, everyone, without further ado, let's jump right into the plot. So the plot here is young Miss Aunt Christie opens up her very own shop called Sweet Delights right next door to Littlest Pet Shop, and when the pets and their new friend and Christie's pet rabbit Buttercream Sundae decide to sneak into the pantry of Sweet Delights to sample some of the ingredients, they become trapped and indulge themselves with far too much sugar.
First positive would definitely have to be the song. It was very catchy, and like Chase Away the Winter Blues and a lot of the other songs, once I heard it, I just had to continuously listen to it because it was so hard to not listen to it. The scenery was awesome. Just looking at it, I'm surprised I didn't get cavities just by looking at the scenery.
I just really loved all those outfits that everyone was wearing.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
delicious.
All in all, if any of you guys remember the Lego movie, it kind of makes me think of Cloud Cuckoo Land a bit. Anyone else notice that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like how it's all pastel, it looks like everything's made of candy. I needed a shot of insulin after looking at that. I was like one step away from needing a shot of insulin.
I think what really makes the song interesting is how Buttercream, the guest of the episode, gets her own song in her debut.
Yeah.
It doesn't really happen too often with guests.
It happened with, say, Delilah, for instance.
Well, yeah, it's like, yeah, I mean, you have like Delilah, you have Sharuk, but it doesn't happen to every guest. So I guess is where you kind of place these songs on, like, mini pedestals as far as, you know, singing with the guests will go.
Oh, yeah.
And on that subject, my next positive would definitely have to be Buttercream, especially since this is her debut episode. She's so amazing, hyperactive, and she's such a fun bunny to play with. She's voiced by Kathy Weslock, who also voices another character in a different show, not named. And I could definitely hear connection in their voices, except Buttercream's is pitched slightly higher. The dance she does to calm down is also really hilarious. You could infer a few things from that dance that I'd rather not go to in this video.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
We need to
Yeah,
at least stay
let's
PG
keep-
in here.
Yeah, what are my thoughts on Buttercream? Well, first of all, I happen to naturally love rabbits, so the connection was going to, I guess, make a spark immediately, no matter what character she was. Yeah, Kathy did an amazing job voicing her, and for those don't know, we did interview Kathy a while back, so if you want to check that out, we got the video up, so it's not a cheap plug, I swear. Anyway, so overall, for her debut episode, she really left quite an impression.
I think it was her overall personality that really left the impression of her.
Oh yeah.
I kind of figured that she would be very hyperactive, given how her owner is the runner of a sweet confectionery shop with all that sugar.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so I'm not surprised that she wanted to sneak into the pantry. So our next positive is where the pets start going into a major sugar rush and begin acting like they are, and to quote Russell here, a remote tribe on a jungle island. That was absolutely hilarious.
Oh yeah, sure. When they end up going into the tribes and everything, and when they go into the tribes, they're all going crazy. Vinny's running around screaming sugar. They all turn on each other to get the food. Oh my gosh. This entire scene was hilarious. And I'm glad this continued throughout the whole episode for the most part.
Oh yeah, it's definitely worth the price of admission, and get this, it's free.
I just cannot get enough of those scenes. But I think the one scene out of all of the pantry moments that were in this episode was during Penny Ling's little space out about being in this candy land. Seeing the pets as candy and saying that Minkus Cherry is crooked, it's... oh, wow. I think we have yet to talk about Aunt Christie in this episode.
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Definitely leave her out.
Even though she wasn't seen as much in this episode as I would have liked, I think just her purse scenes alone were enough to say, you're awesome. I mean, you have all these things in your purse. It's like, what kind of purse do you have here? Is this like some kind of magical purse that you can fit all the stuff in here?
How can you fit all that in there?
She's clearly thinking with portals.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I guess we should know how women are with their purses. You never know what's inside.
It's a little thing we call hammer space. Cartoon Logic 101.
On that note, So Aunt Christie did something in this episode. She opened up her sweet shop. This was also hinted in the first episode of the series when we see Aunt Christie trying to buy out the Littlest pet shop. But now we learned that she wanted to buy out the shop because she was setting her own business in town. So it's glad she found the spot and right next door to Littlest pet shop, as well as not buying LPS out.
Yeah,
That's good. That's good business ethics. Exactly what kind of competition would a pet shop have for a sweet shop anyway?
So basically, you walk into one shop for some tasty sweets, and then you walk into the next shop to see some little running sweets.
You literally took the words right out of my mouth and formulated them into a coherent thought.
I guess that's why Mrs. Twombly calls the pets her little sweeties.
Oh yeah.
I knew it.
Now I think we could go into negatives.
Yeah, let's go. Negative.
Well, I wouldn't exactly say negative, but more like.
Well, I do have one that's more of a nitpick. So.
Well, go ahead, comment. Let's hear what you have to say first.
All right, this is my little nitpick. All right, this is me going into kind of pure self-assist show. I should really just relax mode. But if you think about it, you know, whenever all the pets are kind of should crash, I guess, after they've had their little hyperactive episode, keep in mind that to some of those animals that they are, you know, that amount of sugar or even just pastries in general would be very unhealthy, if not deadly. But then again, I could make the same argument for the ponies in MLP, saying as pastries are literally poisonous to horses.
It's like feeding chocolate to a dog.
Pretty much. And I'm fairly certain a lot of those pastries had a decent amount of chocolate in it. So let's just hope Zoe makes it through their Pickens.
Yeah.
But then again, we're talking about animals that have possibly been living since like the 80s, at least according to In the Loop, because who knows how far back that flashback was.
Well, you're right. I mean, like I said, you know, this is me, I guess, trying to, you know, nitpick and split hairs and everything, but I just thought I'd make mention of that because, you know, nothing's perfect.
The thing about that too is that sometimes I have to think of it with this kind of mentality. I think in cartoon logic like Pinky, you can't question it because you're not going to get anywhere.
I'm just going to sit all day just bucking and stewing and being like, how come they haven't died yet? I mean, that's a very morbid thought. You can't admit that hasn't come across your mind at least once.
Exactly.
Well, the only other thing that I can really bring up in this episode that isn't that's not a negative, but it's just something that I just kind of question is the hole in the wall between the pet shop and Sweet Delights. Was this just made intentionally for the pets to travel back and forth between the shops, or was this like a construction accident, or was that hole always there? I just don't understand why the hole's there, but I'm not saying that that's a bad thing because, you know, nothing.
It's the same thing as my complaints.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really pose a real threat in this universe, at least not yet, but obviously it won't.
I mean, to me, it kind of reminds me of, if you guys remember Fraggle Rock, how there is a hole in Doc's wall.
Yeah.
That would lead to Fraggle Rock. Then, like, Doc didn't question it. The only one who questioned it was Sprocket, but since he's a dog, you know, can't really say words per se, so I just see it as that, you know, it's just always kind of been there, but you know, there's nothing there originally, so the pets had no real reason to go in there.
Yeah, so basically it's just there, but it's not going to really be a problem to anybody, and no one's really going to question it. It's like, okay, there's just a wall here, no big deal.
Yeah, the only people that really question it are either, you know, maybe a building inspector who comes by, or over analytical 20-somethings on the internet, like us.
Yeah, that's about right.
Oh, nitpick that I have would have to be Jasper in this episode. Because as all of her friends were trying to help Blythe and trying to help find the pets, they're trying to calm her down. And yet, here's Jasper being a smart mouth and just making a joke in all the wrong times. And
he's kind of stirring the pot.
This episode because she was punishing him for being a mess up.
I guess he was trying to lighten the situation.
Yeah. But I don't think he was doing it intentionally. I don't think Jasper would just do it because he wants to make Blythe feel bad. That's just how he's reacting to the situation. He doesn't know, since, I mean, even though it's not really his responsibility to find those pets, it doesn't mean that he was completely against Blythe for, you know, quote unquote losing them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, I guess he's kind of handling a situation the way I would handle a situation like that. Try to use humor to lighten the mood, so it's not, you know, all, you know, I can't find him anywhere. But I guess in some cases this backfires, and if it's sort of a life and death case, which this clearly isn't, but, you know, if it's a more serious case, it's not going to work. But if it's something not very serious, then, you know, go for it.
I'm pretty sure this was only a serious case for Sue when she said, "We can't find them!"
I mean, if it's someone's pet, then yeah, it is pretty serious. So, especially if you don't know where they are. Despite the fact that they're right next door to the Littlest pet shop.
Yeah, but they didn't know that.
But don't you see, in order to find the pet, you have to be the pet.
That was hilarious.
Only Blythe.
Anyway.
Curse my freakishly large head.
Yep, we had to throw that one in.
I love how they always make jokes about that.
Curse you, character designers! Curse you!
I guess we...
On that bombshell, let's go to the overall thought, shall we?
Yeah.
Okay. Alright. Okay. Overall, this was a great episode. When I started watching this show, this episode, I kept watching over and over and over and over and over and over and over again on Dailymotion and Netflix. And it's still a fantastic episode no matter how many times I watch it. So on that note, I'm going to give this episode a 10 out of 10.
I absolutely love this episode. I'd like to give a little bit of backstory. In February 2013, the Monday after they just aired Trading Places on TV, iTunes accidentally messed up and uploaded this episode instead. I think I was the first person to notice this, since it was the Monday before this episode officially aired. So I tried to upload it on YouTube for everyone to watch, but I failed because that's when I learned that iTunes used DRM on their videos. So this episode is in my top 5 episodes of all time. It's really, really great, and I just absolutely love Buttercream. She's hilarious, she never gets annoying to me, and she's an all-around fun character. The fact that she's Sweet Delights meant that we would get to see more of Buttercream, and that was really great. So I'll give this episode a 10 out of 10. 4th best episode in the series.
Now, as for me, it's really difficult to find negatives in this episode. This actually is number 3 in my top 10 list of best episodes from season 1, and here's why. Buttercream was an amazing and hilarious pet, and I'm glad to know she'll be sticking around for a long time to come. I really like her hyperactiveness, and given how her owner runs a confectionery store, it doesn't surprise me that it seems like she's always dosed up on sweets. Taking the pets into Sweet Delights was absolutely brilliant, and I loved how each and every one of the pets reacted to eating a lot of the sugar. The freakouts and tribal mentality they all had were just so out there that they're pretty much impossible to forget. Speaking of things that are unforgettable, The Sweet Shop is one of those songs you can't shake from your head every time it plays. Seeing the female pets in candy dresses and the guys in candy stripe uniforms is always a sight to see. Ditto hearing its upbeat melody. What really sets this song apart from most others is that the guest performs the lead vocals, in this case Buttercream, potentially her only song in the series, and that's something that doesn't usually happen too often in other episodes involving guests. I even found Aunt Chrissy to be a positive, even though she didn't appear as much. I guess it was by the contents of her purse that made me think of her as more than just some average businesswoman. It makes me question what kind of purse she has, given all of her unusual contents placed within. If I may now talk about some of the questionable things of this episode, it was strange seeing how Vinny was the first one in the group to be the voice of reason towards the end of the conflict. Seeing how he was the one indulging himself on the most sugar and acting crazier than anyone else in the pantry. Usually it's someone like Russell to calm everyone down, but I guess there's the first time for everything, right? The only other thing which would be considered questionable is why there would be a hole in the wall between the pet shop and Sweet Delights. Was it always there to begin with? Was this hole made intentionally for Buttercream or the other pets to travel back and forth between the shops? Did no one ever bother to patch it up when or if they found or made this hole by accident recently or a long time ago? We'll never know exactly why the hole was made in the first place, but it's some food for thought. Like, say for instance the entrance to either the pet shop or Sweet Delights was left open for a while and some other animals came in, like in Blythe's Pet Project or Super Senile. Animals could be running back and forth in between both shops and it could be very confusing or it could be very distracting, maybe even counterproductive unproductive to business if you have a bunch of animals running between both shops when they're not supposed to be there in the first place. It's a very open-ended talking point, but as long as it doesn't pose a problem to either business in future episodes, this whole really shouldn't be labeled as a negative, but maybe labeled as a head-scratcher. Anywho, like I mentioned earlier, I love this episode to death. I've not been able to find one real complaint in this episode. I've only been able to find positives and only a few minor questionable moments. With that in mind, I'll also be giving this episode a perfect 10 out of 10. Love it.
Alright, I'm gonna say this right now. I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. Pardon the pun there. This episode was brilliant. I mean, we get introduced to amazing, sort of recurring character. We get a fantastic song. We have nothing but pure, unadulterated comedy. And, aside from a couple of little nitpicks that really aren't going to affect the quality of the episode, I'd say this is easily within my top 3. Might even be one of my favorites. It's definitely my second favorite of season 1. So, on that note, I can't see myself giving this anything less than a 10.
Yeah.
Beautiful work, guys. Bravo.
10s all
You're
around.
watching us. Pat yourself on the back until it turns red. You did a fantastic.
So next week we have an episode of season 2 to review. So let's see what we get.
Bring on the randomizer!
Please be a good one. I want a good episode.
No whammies, no whammies. Big bucks, big bucks. Stop!
And the winner is Missing Blythe.
Okay.
Well.
Oh yeah, I don't think I've seen this one since it originally aired.
Yeah, I haven't watched this one forever.
Yeah.
And so, everyone, our next review is Missing Blythe, the Season 2 premiere. However, going by its narrative, this episode serves as the second part of 2 episodes. It picks up where the Season 1 finale left off. To that end, we will be doing a joint review of Summertime Blues from Season 1 and Missing Blythe from Season 2.
It's 2 for the price of 1!
2 for 1! 2 for 1!
2 for 1. 2 for 1. Wait, wrong episode.
Yes, we'll have to say the joke for next time. Maybe. Who knows?
This is Espanol 98.
ICanSnake.
CC Trainor-Ling.
James the Con Man.
And this is us signing out. We'll see you guys next week.
Peace out, home slices.
And may the warrior spirit run through each and every one of you.
Later.
Hello everybody, Downloads Bacon here, and to get started with this review, but you see I'm kind of locked in this room. Fortunately, I'm kind of been here for a while, and the only thing there is just a bunch of sweets. Kind of like the episode we're gonna do. So, since no one really cares where I'm at, I guess I'll just eventually break free when I do. But since I'm here, I might as well give you my review of the episode topic, Buttercream. To be perfectly honest, I love the episode like everyone else. It's a solid episode. I can't really add anything that hasn't been said already. It's a great episode, the songs are great, characters are great, nothing really else to it. I guess the only thing is that I have a lot of little things, little nitpicks here and there, but it's nothing that is too major. So with that in mind, I guess I'll give the episode a 9.9 out of 10. Why? Because there are so many little things that bother me that it's just enough to scratch off 0.1 of a point. So apologies for breaking this 10 thing, but it happens. What do you want from me?